In 1997, Mercedes unveiled the W178. This dreary turd was designed by Steve Mattin, a man who would go on to design cars like the S, the SL, the SLK, and the Mercedes McLaren SLR. But he would win Designer of the Year by Autocar magazine primarily because of this vile turd. A turd that would cement its place in history by becoming the first car to fail the Elk test by falling over itself. Not only was this a visual and dynamic turd, but between 1997 and 2004, Daimler-Benz would sell 1.1 million of these turds and lost 1,440 euros per vehicle produced. Then, in 2004, they released the W169, which was 15% bigger and much safer thanks to new dampening suspension, ESP, and a new 2-stage airbag that varies its deployments depending on the severity of the crash. Even Tesla took a part in its lifespan by providing the battery and powertrain for the Mercedes A-Class E-Cell models. In 2012, we got the W176, which had one of the most insane ad campaigns involving camouflage made from QR codes that if you scanned and collected enough trophies, you could win an exclusive trip to the Geneva Motor Show where it would be unveiled. They killed the 3-door model and rebranded as a subcompact executive to attract a younger, more dynamic audience. Then, in 2018, we were given the W177, with the new Mercedes Predator face having the challenge of dethroning the W176 as one of the most successful Mercedes models in the lineup. Unlike other models in Mercedes-Benz's line of cars, the Mercedes A-Class is a car that's wanted by such a wide range of people. It's wanted by the elderly who are looking for something that's efficient, luxurious, and smaller because their kids have moved out the house. It's wanted by young professionals and business owners who want an entry into the premium market and don't want to file for bankruptcy afterwards. It's wanted by employers because then they can lease it out to you and give you a benefits package with a premium car in it instead of something else that's lesser. It's wanted by teenagers who want to drive an A200 like an A45 or just simply to go to McDonald's and scrape the wheels on the curb. And the list goes on and on and on. The point is, the Mercedes-Benz A-Class is just a car that's wanted by everybody. In terms of aesthetics, the previous generation set the bar very, very high for this A-Class. But I think that on this A-Class, the designers did a phenomenal job. The Predator look is such an iconic look that every time you see it, you know that it's an A-Class. It's aggressive without being too much and too shouty at the same time. The back of the car looks really nice. It's really encompassed the whole hatchback feeling into it with the thin lights and the big rear. Even on the sedan, which I don't even like that much, the car looks very good. The rear lights look good, and they look like it comes from a proper Mercedes-Benz sedan, not just a stretched out A-Class. The sides of the car look more elongated, more sleek, more sexy. So it looks like you've got a longer and bigger car. And with all this stretching to make longer, sleeker, sexier, they've managed to give you a boot capacity of 370 liters, around about, which is phenomenal, especially for a hatchback, which is supposed to be their smallest car. Now, one of the best things about the A-Class is how you look inside of it. Inside of it, you look like you are going places in life. You look like you have made correct choices in your life and now they're paying off. But if I could recommend something for anybody who is trying to use this car as a signaling device, stay away from the manuals, because the manual versions of these cars, which is mostly in the older generation and I think in the beginning stages of the new generations of this generation, the manual versions signal that you did get the car at a good price. What is also good about this car is on the inside you've got Mercedes-Benz's top-down approach to the features list. Features such as Mercedes-Benz M-Bucks with the dual screen setup, the natural language processing, and on some cars, the AR navigation. I've got nice fan style vents over here. I've got a center console that's huge and looks really good and has the wireless charging pad on the inside. I've got, most crucially of all, physical climate control buttons. Listen to them. When was the last time you heard such a satisfying click come from a car's climate control buttons? The inside of this car, the steering wheel, feels so much more premium than a lot of other cars that you can get. Subcompact cars that you can get. Everything just feels nice. There's soft touch everywhere. There's even the fake Mercedes-Benz leather is good. It's just, there's space in the back is decent. I'm not gonna lie and say that it's amazing and no other car has this much space. My knees touch the back of the seats if I sit in the back of the car, especially if I'm in my driving position. There's almost a very limited amount of space, probably only good for a small child. But let's look at the people who buy this car in the first place. I don't think that they're all looking for crazy legroom in the back. The most that you're going to put in the back there are your friends, and they can hack it for a ride. It doesn't matter, you know. You even have a fingerprint sensor over here, which is like unlocking a MacBook, but it's your car. It's like a Mercedes A-book. It's an AMAC. I don't know. I'm going crazy. But the moral of the story is, on the inside of the A-Class, it is very classy, very beautiful, and you are sure to impress your peers with how luxurious and elegant this inside interior looks. And not only is the Mercedes-Benz A-Class classy, but it's also safe. With a Euro NCAP rating of 5 and a 92% for pedestrian safety, it means that not only are you safe driving the car, but you're doing a civic duty by making sure that pedestrians are safe if you hit them. Before we move on, we do have to talk a little bit about the engines that came in the A-Class. Now, in the previous generation, thanks to a partnership between Renault and Nissan, the Mercedes-Benz engines that went in the smaller A-classes were basically Clio engines. You see, the problem with the Renault engines is that they had too many weak points. In the 1.2 litre turbo and the 1.6, the piston rings would leak. This would cause oil to be sucked into the combustion changer and the car to consume excessive amounts of oil. This would then cause an engine light, abnormal engine noises, and black exhaust smoke. The direct injection in these engines would lead to carbon buildup on the intake valves and oil rings, causing misfires, rough idling, and burnt exhaust valves. Other notable points of failure on these engines were the timing chain and the water pump, which were also known to regularly fail. But the moral of the story is, there was a lot of things that could go wrong with these engines, especially if not properly maintained. The W177 Mercedes-Benz A-Class, however, did not use a Renault-Nissan engine. Well, kind of. Mercedes-Benz made their own engines, but they were helped with the co-development of the engines by Renault. So Renault didn't directly give Mercedes-Benz an engine. And if you're enjoying the video that you're seeing so far, a sub to this channel would be top class. And now onto the buyer's guide information for this car, because although Mercedes did change their partnership between Renault and Nissan to now having full Mercedes-Benz engines, these engines are still not yet bulletproof. Now, for the W177, for the 1.3 and 2 litre engines, the major problems to look out for is still the timing chain, high pressure fuel pump, and possibly the water pump, because that could lead to a lot of overheating. If you get early examples of the W177 from 2018 to 2020, you should look out for the transmission. Those early models had a bit of teething issues, which would cause the transmission to be, at best, a little bit jerky and have hesitation on start off, and at worst, it would lead to premature clutch wear, which means you are going back in to replace that clutch a lot sooner than you should be, and it's not a cheap clutch. And on some of the earlier cars, the M-Bux system would freeze or crash, which means that you'd need a full replacement of the system. Then the other thing that would happen would be the digital instrument cluster. That could be prone to flickering, or the screen would go dim and up and down and dim. That would normally be because of very low battery, but that could also lead to a replacement if left unattended. If you have the 48 volt mild hybrid version, sometimes the battery wasn't powerful enough to power the whole car, which means that you would then be running on low voltage, which could then cause a lot of these electrical gremlins that we just talked about. And then in terms of mechanical gremlins, one of the things would be the suspension. Sometimes the shock absorbers would fail, causing creaks and leaks while you drive the car. And then the other thing that would happen is there's the steering rack, which could lead to some problems with the electrical power steering, which would then either require it to be recalibrated or completely replaced. And despite this long list of just problems that I've just given you about the car, it's actually not all doom and gloom if you apply the correct maintenance to these parts. One of the first things to do to keep your car living as long as possible is spark plugs and ignition coils. Those have to be replaced every 30 to 40,000 kilometers, as well as the transmission fluid. That has to be replaced every 60,000 kilometers. Even though Mercedes-Benz says it has lifetime fluid within it, it has to be serviced. Otherwise, you will end up replacing a very expensive gearbox. If you want to prevent clunking and noises in your car over bumps, you should replace the control arm bushes, because those seem to wear out prematurely on these cars, as well as the brake pads and rotors. They seem to be very small in this car and they wear out quite quickly, especially when people drive it like it's an A45, or if you have a heavier model like the EVs, like the mild hybrid EVs. And to ensure that you don't have any issues with your main center console or your digital instrument cluster, you need to replace your 48 volt and 12 volt battery. Now, I know that this seems like a very long service list as well, but after doing this recommended maintenance, that car should give you a lot of years of faithful service and should never leave you stranded on the side of the road. If I could give some buying advice to anybody who was in the market and in the mood to go and buy a Mercedes A-Class, I'll tell you this. Stay away from the base model. It comes with torsion beam rear suspension and has a lot more plastic on the inside. Stay away from halogen lights. Try and get nice Mercedes LED lights. You will love it at night. Trust me. Your eyes would love it and everybody's gonna love it. And then, for the youngsters out there, don't drive the A200 like an A45. You will hurt that car. Anyways, those are my thoughts on the Mercedes-Benz A-Class. My name's Tawanda. This has been Fueled, and I'll see you next time. Hi. Yippity tutor.